concentrate on the basics, and starting with the basics, we will try to cover all the chef basics and the cookbook developments and the chef configurations, and then slowly we will move towards the real-time environment, how we will be working in the real-time environment in chef, and we can see few real-time examples. So these are the course topics we have listed down. So first we will start with like introduction to chef, and then we will see more about the chef server, workstation, and node, and then we will see about like cookbook and knife commands. So I will talk more in detail about all these topics. So today let's start with the why we will use the chef in our DevOps, and from like in DevOps, like we will be using many tools in our day-to-day activities. So let's discuss about like in which place the chef will come into picture, and what is the main purpose of chef, and how successful the chef is being running. So let's start with DevOps. So maybe you guys would have been already working in DevOps, and you know all these definitions, all these things and all. So let's right away like we will discuss like what DevOps, how the DevOps has thinking. Like let's talk in more about the real-time perspective, like what DevOps is and all. So usually like DevOps is nothing but the combination of development team and the operation teams. So let's take an example and let's simplify that to the DevOps definition. So usually in our day-to-day deployment activities, so we will have the development teams where they will write all the code, and then they will create the builds, and then those builds that will be given to the operations team, and those operations team, they will deploy all those builds into the production servers. So earlier, the entire process is like the developer, he will writing the builds, and then they will raise the tickets so that the operation team, they will work on those tickets, they will deploy those servers, they will deploy the builds onto the production servers. And then if there are any issues, again, the cycle will go back from operations team to development team. So that like it is more like a time taking process from developer to operations team, and again operations to development team. So in order to reduce the time cycle, and in order to get the collaboration between all these teams which are working together to deploy the code onto the production servers, so there comes this DevOps picture where like we will be using many tools in our day-to-day environment to simplify this code deployment process to the production servers, and to make the code deployment faster, and to deliver the product in a faster manner. So now the development team also will be, by using these DevOps tools, the development team also will be having, they will be aware about the deployment activities and what is the end result, like how is the success rate of the code that is on the production servers. And even for the operations team, it will be easy for them to contact back in case of any issues to these development teams and all. So moreover, it is like a collaboration between all these development teams, technical operations, and quality assurance. So there comes like by the integration between all these teams, like we will be calling it as like a DevOps teams. So if we see in the entire code flow from starting from development to the deployment in the production servers, so there we will see mainly these three teams which will be working. So one is the development team where they will be writing the code, and then they will be giving that code, by they will generate the builds, and then they will give that builds to the quality assurance teams. So the quality assurance teams, they will be working on the builds that has been provided by the developer, and then they will do the quality testing on their QA instances. And once the build is validated on the QA instances, then that build will be given to the operations team, and the operations team, they will deploy that build on the production instances. So that was the regular flow which will happen in our day-to-day DevOps teams. So that is like main real-time scenario, what the DevOps means. Like this is the flow, the how the code will be flown into the production environments. So here, like we will be using many tools in our day-to-day DevOps activities. So we will have just small look into the like what are all the different tools which we will be using, and then slowly I will take you to like why chef and when chef will be coming into the picture. So here, like, this is the periodic table of the DevOps tools. So I will hide this. So if you see, like, here in our day-to-day activities, like we will be using many DevOps tools. Since you are working in DevOps, like you would have already aware of the different tools which we'll be using in our day-to-day DevOps cycle. So we have like these SCM tools, like to save the Git. To save the code, we will be using this either Git or SVN, like this, like these SCM tools, like software configuration management tools, where we will be managing all our softwares that has been developed by the developers, and then they will be pushing that code to the their SCM tools. And then once the code has been flown into the SCM, that either a Git or SVN, from there we have to take that code and then we have to generate the builds. So for that we will be using this CI tools. So CI, it is nothing but like continuous integration. So we will be mainly using this Jenkins, Bamboo, Travis, these CI tools in our day-to-day environment, in day-to-day DevOps environments. So let's take an example like Jenkins. So usually, like how the code from SCM to CA, or how they will integrate is like, so they will integrate the SCM with the Jenkins tool. So once the code developer has committed the code, then the code will be committed to the Git, and then after that the Jenkins will start taking that code from the Git. So we will be using these plugins to establish the communication between Git and SCM. So from there, the code will be taken from GitHub, and then it will start creating the builds. So in Jenkins, we can mention few test cases where we can validate the code, and then we can move towards like creating the builds. So once the code is validated, then we can create the builds from that code. So this is like continuous integration. So we can integrate this SCM tool and CI tool so that whenever the developer commits his code, the code is taken automatically. It will be run through few test cases, and then the build will get created. So that is like the continuous integration. And again, we have this deployment tools, like a deployment manager we will be using more. Like we have the other deployment tools as well. So by using these deployment tools, this will be more helpful for, okay. Uh, by using these deployment tools, we will be using more for like deployment of these codes. And again, we have this cloud. So these like AWS instances, Azure, OpenStack, Docker, all these things. So these are like cloud or IaaS, SaaS, PaaS instances, like infrastructure as service and platform as service, those instances. So whatever the instances we will be spinning up, using this one of the cloud instances. And then comes this BI monitoring tool. So these are the tools, like monitoring tools we will be using in our day-to-day development activities. Like either we will be using Nagios or Kibana or Zabbix, these things. So by using these tools, we can monitor the health of the instances, how the instance is working, and what is the health check of that instance. So we can write few check scripts using this Nagios or Zabbix, anything, and then we can monitor the health checks of that instance. So for an example, like we can check like what is the memory, how much of the memory has been utilized in that instance. And once the one instance memory utilization is going beyond like 80% or something, we can trigger some alerts using that. So that is where we will be using these monitoring tools. And then like that, we have remaining tools as well, like database management tools and release management tools. We have these logging tools as well, like Splunk. Splunk we will be using more for like analyzing the logs which has been generated in the instances, and then we can create the dashboards and reports on these logs and all. So like this, like we have many tools in DevOps. So config and provisioning. So this is where our chef will come into picture. So the same way, like we have different configuration management tools like Chef, Ansible, Puppet, Salt, like that. So whenever you wanted to make your infrastructure as a code, so suppose like if you're deploying a new instance, once the instance is created in your production in your environment, then certain few standards has to be set on that instance, and few applications has to be installed on that instance to deploy your code and to bring up the software up and running. So those all these things, so earlier they used to do all these manual things, like all the manual tasks, like they will be going into that instance, they will be installing the packages, they will be starting the services, again they will be deploying the codes, all these things. So it usually it will be taking like a time taking process. So there we will be using Chef. So we will try to automate all these procedures, like to install the packages, to maintain, to create certain infrastructure for our application to be up and running. So all these things we can write in Chef code, and then we can make that code, that once the Chef code is written, so that code can be executed on n number of instances, so that like the deployment process we can automate, and then we can deploy the code, and then we can bring up the application more faster and in more secured way, and like more without any errors we can bring out the code and we can deploy the softwares. So that is the main purpose of the Chef. So Chef, it acts like a configuration management tool for. So by using this configuration management tool, we can write that our infrastructure as a code. So if you see as a definition side, that is like to make our infrastructure as a code, we will use Chef. So that is the main part. So we will see more about the Chef. We will discuss. So Chef is like a powerful automation platform. So initially when Chef they have came into the market, initially they were like the automation tool. So just like they're trying to automate the process. So it's like a automation tool. And then from there on, they have started growing. Like they are trying to include like more and more tools into the Chef platforms. And then now they have made it as a complete automation platform. So now we have this Chef Automate, where we can starting from once the developer commits his code from his system to GitHub. So from there till the code deployment to the production servers, the entire process we can do it from Chef. So that is the Chef Automate product that have been given from the Chef itself. So initially we have only Chef. Then later on they have added all these additional uh, products, so that initially from the code or deployment, like from Chef automation till product deployment. So the entire thing they have modified, they have created as one single platform, and they have made it as a Chef Automate. So Chef is a powerful automation platform that transforms your infrastructure into code. So whatever infrastructure you wanted to make on that instance, so those things they have made it as a code, and then we will be writing as a code in Chef as a cookbooks, and we will be executing that code on that particular instance, so that the infrastructure will be automatically created. So Chef automates how infrastructure is configured, deployed, and managed across your entire network. So by using this Chef, we can manage all the code. Yeah, so I'll tell you that. So for Chef, we will see like what are the basic requirements or like basic prerequisites to learn Chef. So the basic prerequisites to learn Chef is nothing. So we don't have any prerequisites to learn Chef. So any guy, he can start learning the Chef, and then they can work on it. So we don't need any prerequisite programming language experience or anything. So Chef, it is like very simple. The syntax is very easy. So we can start writing the code in very simple format, and then we can start executing the code. So initially for starting as a Chef programmer, so we don't need any programming language. So as we grow in Chef, as we start writing cookbooks and as we start writing complex codes, so basically Chef, it is, so one minute.
Guys, if you have any question, you can ask Rakesh.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't saw the chat. I was saying this. So Hari, is there any scripting language mandatory? If you please let me know which one is good. So yeah, so basically we don't have any scripting language mandatory, but Chef, it is built on top of Ruby programming language. So basically the entire Chef product, it is built on top of Ruby programming language. So for learning Chef initially at the as a initial level, we don't need any programming language because Chef, it follows its own syntax. So we don't have to get any prerequisite or any programming language for that. So we can use the predefined Chef resources. I will talk more about like what is a resource and what is a cookbook. So for now, you can think it as a code. So for writing Chef code, you can start using the Chef syntax. You don't need any programming language. So once you grow as a Chef developer, if you wanted to write your own libraries or if you wanted to write your own custom resources, what we use in our cookbooks, so those things we may need a programming language. So our Chef is built on Ruby programming language, and we will be writing all our libraries and the custom resources in Ruby programming language. So once you grow as a Chef developer and once you wanted to write the complicated cookbooks or like high level cookbooks, at that point Ruby will come into picture. So apart from that, for to start off with Chef, we don't need any programming language. So it certain basic platform, like if you're working on Linux or if you're working on Windows, so certain basic commands, if you know, that is enough. So apart from that, we don't need any programming language experience for learning Chef. So that was the basic prerequisite. So yeah, thanks, Hari. So that is about this Chef. So mainly you can think about like whatever the infrastructure you have in your platform. If you wanted to install an application so that you have some dependency services or dependency packages to be installed. So all these things we can automate and then we can execute the code, and in within no time our application will be up and running. So in our DevOps cycle, this will be the this is the place where the Chef will come into picture. So whenever you wanted to deploy a code, so at that point you can write all your steps as a Chef code, and then you can start executing that code so that the code which we write, it will do all the tasks, it will install all the applications, it will install all the services, it will make all the services up and running, and then it will deploy your code. So we will see more about this Chef. So I don't want to talk in like definition terms. I wanted to show you more in practical way, in real time way, so that like you will be able to easily understand and you will be able to easily relate things. So this is the entire Chef Automate platform. So this is what the Chef it is providing currently. So Chef initially they have started with like Chef infrastructure automation, and by then they started growing into the complete platform. So they have provided all the sources here. So mainly we will be seeing in our sessions mainly be on the Chef infrastructure automation, and then we will so Chef infrastructure, it was like a open source one. So the entire Chef Automate product, it was a licensed product, but the Chef infrastructure automation, it was a open source one. So all the products we have the open source ones, and but to get the Chef Automate, like initially there is like a 1 month free license we can get. After that we have to buy the license. But for our learning purposes, Chef had provided all the supported platforms so that we can just start using these things and we can start learning things. So we will concentrate more about this Chef infrastructure automation, and then we can move on to like inspect and then habitat. So this is the Chef entire product, like Chef Automate. So in this Chef Automate, like as I said in the starting, so starting from the code, once the code is written and once the code is uploaded to my Chef, or once the code is uploaded to the GitHub, so from there, the Chef Automate will start its work, and then it till the code deployment to the production servers, the entire task, like instead of having multiple DevOps tools, with the different tools in different stages of the code deployment. By using this Chef Automate with one single tool, we can automate the entire deployment cycle. So that was the main motto of the Chef Automate. So here in the Chef Automate, we have three stages. One is build, the second is deploy, and the third is manage. So let's start with build. So what they mean by build was, so think in a real-time perspective. So once a developer, he writes his code, he will commit the code to the GitHub. So from there, the Chef Automate, it will start taking the code from the GitHub. So in this, before creating the code, before creating the code as build, we can write few test cases in between, so that whatever the code it is available in the GitHub, we can take that code, we can make that code to flow with few test cases. So once the test cases are passed, we can create a build on that. So usually in our environment, like we will be using this Jenkins or Bamboo for this creation of the builds after the testing. So in the same way, in the Chef Automate also, we can do the same process. So we can take the code from the GitHub, any of the SCM tool, and then we can pass through the code through any of the test cases, and then we can create the build. So in this entire process, usually we need few approvals also in the build creation process, like that. Like once the test cases is passed, then our manager will approve, so that the code will be created as a build. So in this Chef Automate, so they have included this approval process as well, so that it will trigger the inputs and it will trigger the mails, so that once the test case is qualified, then like for our managers or for the approval team, it will be easy for them. So they can straight away, they can come to the Chef Automate dashboard, they can see like how the code behaved in the test cases, whether all the test cases are passed or not. So once all the test cases are passed, they will just click on that approval button, so that the code will go to the next phase. So that entire process they have kept inside this build. And then we have deploy. So deploy is nothing but like deploy, we have these four phases, like provision, configure, execute, and update. So first, like we can provision the instances based on like by integrating with any one of the cloud platforms, either as AWS, Docker, or OpenStack, like that. So we can create that instance, and then we can configure that instance as per our requirement. And then whatever the build we have created here, we can deploy that build onto that particular server as well. So that is the deploy option we have available here. So usually we have like multiple tools available in DevOps for like doing all these activities, like to provisioning the instances, to configuring the instances, like that. So all those things they have kept inside this deploy. And then so now the code is created, it has passed through the test phases, it has passed through the approval phases, and the code is deployed onto the instance. So once the code is deployed onto the instance, we have to monitor those instances, and then we have to make sure like all the instances what that has been created, that is as per our security compliance and all these things. So we have to do all the compliance checks as well. So for that, we can use this manage, and then in this we have that secure, comply, audit, logging. So we can keep a regular check on that instances, whether the instances what we are using in our environment, those are falling under the security standards or not. We can run few compliance checks which will generate the results. So we will have the improved results available in this tool, so that whenever some external team, if they are coming for the audit purpose, so we don't have to again create any data or like that. So in the Chef Automate, we will have the results already available, so that we can directly show them to the audit team, so that they can refer from here itself, from our tool itself. So that is how, like from starting to end, the Chef Automate, it had created all the from build, deploy, and manage. So they have integrated all these things, and they have created as one single platform. So now the Chef Automate is like one single platform which will provide all the deployment tasks and all the deployment tools. So let's more talk about this Chef infrastructure automation. So Chef infrastructure automation is the place where we will be writing all our code, and we will be managing our instances. So this is our chef architecture. So this is like I will give you a high level overview, and then in our next classes, like we can see more in detail about all these things. So basically in our chef architecture, we have three different components. One is chef workstation, the other one is chef server, and the other one is chef node. So I will repeat it again. So in our chef architecture, we have three different components. One is chef workstation, the other one is chef server, and the other one is chef nodes. So the first part, this is my whatever the chef DK it is mentioned. So that is my like chef workstation. So chef DK, it is nothing but the chef development kit. So what are all the development activities we will be doing in our chef? So all those things we will be doing in our chef workstation. So let that be like code creation or code testing, whatever it might be, that will be we will be doing only in our chef workstation. So chef workstation is the main part in our cookbook development. So we can, this chef DK is the package that will be provided by chef itself, which that package will have all the development tools and it will have all the testing tools as a one single package. So we can install that package. So whatever the cookbook, so cookbook is nothing but our code. So whatever the code we are writing is a in as like whatever the infrastructure as a code, what we are trying to automate any process or any of the application deployment tasks. So those things we can keep the code, and that entire component is called cookbook. So I will talk more about like what is cookbook and all. So as of now, like you remember, like cookbook is a place where we will keep all the code, and then we will be executing that code in the instances. So all your development tasks that will be done in that chef workstation. So so for that, like we will be installing the chef DK, and once the cookbook is generated here and once the code is written, we can use different testing tools that is provided by chef itself. Like we have food critic, we have cook style, we have test kitchen, all those things. So by using these testing tools, we can test our code, what we have been writing in my chef workstation. So before uploading that cookbook to before sending that cookbook to the next phase, so we can once the in the chef workstation itself, we can write the cookbook and then we can test the cookbook as well. So that is our more about the chef DK. So chef DK, it is installed on the chef workstation. So chef workstation is the component where we will be doing all our development activities. We will be writing the code, we will be testing the code. So once the code is ready, after passing all the test cases, what we have written, we can send that code to the next phase. And we have one more component, one main component called chef server. So chef server, it acts like a hub of information. So chef server will store all the data that is related to our chef environment. That means as a chef workstation perspective, whatever the code you will be writing, you will can keep that code in the chef server. So this chef server we will be installing as a one different instance, and chef workstation will be have a one different instance. So in this chef server, we can do multiple tasks, like we can save the cookbooks. The cookbooks can be uploaded from chef workstation to chef server, and we can add all the instances, like whatever the instances where you wanted to execute this code, those instances we can integrate with the chef server, so that all the instances data, it will also be available in the chef server. So in the chef server, PostgreSQL database will be used to save all these configuration details, cookbook details, whatever all the data that will be saved inside this PostgreSQL database. So chef server is one of the main component which acts like a hub of information where it will store all the data regarding our chef environment. And third component is my clients. So clients, it is nothing but any of the instances where we wanted to run the chef. So chef client is the package. Once you install the chef client on all the instances where you wanted to run the code, there you will be installing the chef client. So whichever the instance which can be executed at whichever the instance which can execute chef client, that is called as chef node. So this is the chef node what we will be using here. So by using this node, we will be executing all the cookbooks on this node, and then we will be automating the tasks, and then we will be deploying the code onto these instances. So these are the three main components what we have. One is chef workstation, the other one is chef server, the other one is chef node. That is our clients. So we will see in deep about more of this, what is the chef workstation, chef server, and chef node in our future classes. So as of now, you can just remember like chef, we have like three different components. One is chef workstation, the other one is chef server, and the other one is chef node. So this is more about the chef workstation. So in the chef workstation, we can do all our development activities. We can write our cookbooks. So Chef, it is mainly built on the top of Ruby. So whatever the internal libraries that has been already provided by Chef, that is already written in Ruby programming language. So in the backend, the code, the entire code for Chef, it is written in Ruby programming language only. So if you wanted to write your libraries, or if you wanted to write the high-level cookbooks, so at that point, you will be writing the code in a Ruby terms. So that is about the Chef workstation. And the chef node. So chef node is nothing but any of our instances where we can run chef client and then we can execute that code. So this a node is any mission, like this is the definition. So that can be any instance, like either physical, virtual, or cloud, any instance. So in any instance, we can install the chef and then we can start executing the cookbooks. So this is the chef server. So chef server acts as a hub of information. So all the cookbooks and all the data about the chef notes and all, it will be saved inside this chef server. So that is a more about the architecture level of chef. And we can see in different, like more in detail about the each and every component, more in detail in coming classes. So I want to tell you about the chef certifications as well. So we have the chef developer certification. So in this certification process, we have three different badge levels. So one is basic chef fluency, the other one is local cookbook development, the other one is extending chef. So for getting the to get certified as a chef developer, we have to clear all the three badge levels. So in basic fluency, the initial, that was like a basic badge where it will more talk about the basics about the chef. So that is more like a multiple choice questions format only, that examination. So once you clear the chef basic chef fluency, you are qualified to write the local cookbook development. So in this local cookbook development, earlier they used to have like two different exams. So one is mainly about these multiple choice questions. So once you qualified in that exam, then the second phase of the exam will be lab. You will be given certain task so that you have to write the code for the task. So earlier it was like the local cookbook development is in two phases. Now they have merged it and they have made it into one single phase itself, where you have both multiple choice questions and the code writing part as well. So this local cookbook development is about that. And the extending chef also, like it was like advanced level of chef. So there also the examination will have like two different phases. One is multiple choice questions and the other one is like code writing. So once you clear all the three badges, so that will be, you will be getting the certificate as a certified chef developer. So that is more about this chef badges. So Siraj, I have completed till this second level. So I have completed this basic chef fluency and local cookbook development, and I'm trying to go for the third one. I am preparing for that. So actually, here we don't have much requirement. Like it is not compulsory for us to get the certifications, but for as per my interest, like I have started doing that. But yeah, so it was like easy only once you go through the chef and once you start working on it, then you can easily clear all these examinations. So just a small intro about like what is a cookbook. So in Chef, whatever we are discussing about the code, we will talk as a cookbooks. So cookbook is a fundamental unit of configuration. So that is like a one unit where we will have multiple folders inside it where we can organize our code. So that entire unit, it will call it as a cookbook. So we can keep the code, we can keep in there will like a folder structure what we will follow. I will show you that. So in that folder structure, we will keep our code in one folder, and what are all the supporting files for installations that we will keep in one folder, and what are all the attributes. Yes, I have the documentation. I will show you that documentation. So now the cookbook will have like different folders where we can keep the code and keep the supporting files in respective folders. So that entire unit, we will call it as a cookbook. So the main thing what we will see like in day-to-day scenario, we will be continuously seeing more about these cookbooks. So I will show you about the. So this is the first badge topics. So this is about like basic chef fluency. So that was the first one what we have seen. So in this this mainly concentrates more about the how your basic understanding about the chef. So it this certification mainly concentrates on this basics of chef. So I will share you this doc. If you want, I can share you this. You can get it online as well. So it mainly concentrates on about like main basic terminology of the. Yeah, Raj. I will try to share you these docs. So it will mainly concentrate on this cookbook resources, recipes regarding the environment, like what is chef server, what is chef client, what is chef nodes, the basic data about all this chef environment that will be asked mainly in this chef badge. So in our day-to-day sessions, I will try to mainly concentrate towards the chef certification part. So I will mainly, so this acts as our course session, components like index as well, so that we can walk through on this and we can try to cover each and every topic what has been mentioned inside this. So this is the basic chef fluency. So in uh, this certification, it talks more about the basic level, and then we have the local cookbook development badge as well. So this is like the next level of the basic level. So once you are familiar with all the basics, then this badge, it will start talking more about like how you write the cookbook, how you test the cookbook in your environments. So those things it will mainly concentrate about. So in this badge, like you will be having like two multiple choice questions, and also like you will be asked to write the code as well. So overall, the passing criteria will be like 80%. So in the basic fluency, like all the questions will be like multiple choice, and the 80% is the pass criteria. And in this local cookbook development, with more like combinedly, including like multiple choice and code, we should get like 80%. So these are the badge things. So I'll try to share you these docs as well. And what I mean to say was like, I will try to, whatever the sessions, what we will be taking, so that will be mainly concentrating towards these certification topics. So it will be helpful for you to go through these certifications as well. Yeah. Any doubts till now? You can ask.
Hi Rakesh, this is Kiran here.
Hi Kiran.
Yeah, like while compared to other configuration tools, like what is the rating you're getting for a Chef? Why the companies prefer Chef compared to other like tools? We'll be having Ansible more than it, and Puppet have other language of it? Why people choose switch compared to other? Can you explain it?
Yeah, so like every tool has its own advantages. So in the same way, like Chef also has its own advantages where it will work in like server and node concept. So we will have the server and we will be adding all the instances as a nodes to that server. So by using Chef, like it will be easy for us to write the code, as in like coding perspective, it will be very easy for us to follow the syntax and to write the code. And the management perspective, managing the code perspective also, we can add that nodes to the Chef server and uh, running the execution and maintaining the infrastructure on all the instances. So it will be easy for us to manage all the code environments in our production environments. So usually, like I can give you one scenario where like you have, suppose you have 1,000 or 2,000 instances in your environment, and you wanted to run one application, take it as one Apache application. So you wanted to make sure like that Apache application is up and running across all the your 1,000 instances. So in that place, like Chef server and node architecture, it will help you so much, so that like you can run that cookbooks on all the instances parallelly, so that the code on all the instances will be in sync with your application. So you can make sure that your application is up and running all the time. So basically, if I want to sum up, like in Chef, it is easy to write the code and it is easy to manage the code on all the instances by using our Chef architecture, like workstation, server, and node. So this concept.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, hello, Rakesh.
Hi, Gaurav.
Yeah, actually, I have a question. So, as per my knowledge of Chef, I think we need to install a client on the on any of the node to just communicate with the Chef server. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay, so in typical scenario, what would be the effect? Because as per my client issues, so they were saying that why would we use Chef just to install if we need to install a client on the nodes? Instead of that, they were preferring for the Ansible. So I was just a bit confused with that part.
Okay, so Ansible, like you can run that Ansible in your environment without any that server and node architecture also. So in our Chef, like why we mainly use that architecture is like, so you, the entire data we can save it in our Chef server. Like if you're going with the server and node architecture, so we can have it like a Chef server acts as like a one point of contact, which will have all the data inside it. So if you have like hundreds of nodes or thousands of nodes, you don't have to, like if you are using Ansible, if you are running it locally without any server mode or server in concept like Chef server, so you have to keep that code in that particular local instance, and then you have to start executing it. So maybe you can write that YML files and you can mention the host names in that Ansible file. But it will be like in a Ansible way, it will be like easy for them. But if you compare with the Chef perspective, you can have the server and node concept, so that like even for maintaining the thousands of nodes, it will be easy for you to have a track of like what is happening on each nodes, what are all the cookbooks that has been executed, what is the code that has been executed on all the nodes. So we can get all the execution results, and we like it will be easy for you to manage. Like you can track like on how many instances the execution has been failed, on how many instances like those are like up and running. So we can also directly make sure like what are all the code, like what are all the automations we can do, like what automation in the sense like what I'm talking is like about the cookbooks. So you can manage the nodes, or like what is the code that should be executed on that instance. So all those things we can easily manage by using this server and node architecture. So even in Chef also, you have the mechanism to run it locally. So you don't need a Chef client exactly. So you can, if you are more concentrated to run in local without any Chef client mode, you can still use that. There are like local methods of execution as well in Chef, where you can keep your cookbook locally and then you can start executing it. So more main it is like to manage the infrastructure in an easier way. So I feel like Chef, it has like a slight advantage based on of like compared to Ansible.
Thank you, Rakesh.
Yeah, thanks, Gaurav.
Rakesh, this is Kiran again.
Yeah,
And
Kiran.
there is no need of any other special language to learn Shuffle. Like previously, Puppet has a separate language to learn it, right?
Mhm.
If I'm not wrong.
Yeah, so Puppet, like we will be, Puppet is also on based on the Ruby itself. So there we will be writing in the Ruby terms of code. But in Chef, like to simplify that, they have written the code mainly in the Chef syntax perspective. Like it will be in a very simple format. So for suppose if you wanted to create a directory, so we can just mention like directory name, action create. So that is done. So our directory will get created. So we don't have to write like a few lines of code to create a directory or to call to write a file to create a file, those things. So you don't have to learn anything. We have Chef docs available where they have given the proper documentation for each and every syntax what we'll be using. So you don't need any programming language experience to learn Chef. So easily you can start off with Chef and you can start using it.
Thanks.
Yeah. No, Shiva, we don't need any like DSL language compulsory.
Hey Rakesh, this is Raja.
Hi, Raj.
Rakesh, I have some, some question related to this only. Like,
Mhm.
I have done a Reddit certification because, some of my seniors they informed me like if you want to go for a DevOps, you should have a Linux administration. It will help you in your future. So
Mhm.
I have done a Linux certification. Now I'm going towards the DevOps. I have
Okay.
a basic knowledge on DevOps as well as I'm running the learning chef as well by side by side.
Okay.
So, like, what else tools are required to get into, properly into DevOps?
So usually, as for like as a DevOps engineer, like what if you are going for a profile for like DevOps engineer? So what usually they will expect from you is like at least like 3 to 4 tools they will expect you. Like one is like a CI tool, like one SCM tool, like either GitHub or SVN. So one CI tool like either Jenkins or Bamboo, and one configuration management tool like a Chef,
Mhm.
and monitoring tool like either Nagios or Zabbix, and one cloud tool like AWS or
Mhm.
Docker, OpenStack, like that. So at least they will try to validate you based on like whether you are aware of that all these tools and do you have any hands-on experience, because like as a DevOps engineer you will not be working in only one specific tool. So you have to like all these tools, it will go hand in hand. So they will expect you to know all these tools like that. So if it is a big teams, then you will be solely working on one specific tool. Like for
Mhm.
each and every tool, like there will be candidates who will be managing the tools. But if it
Mhm.
is like a small teams, then they will expect you as an individual contributor where you will be handling all these tools as a DevOps engineer. Yeah.
Okay.
So at least like what I can suggest you is like one SCM tool, like either Git or SVN, one CI tool, either Jenkins or Bamboo, one configuration
Mhm.
management tool like Chef, and one monitoring tool, either Nagios or Zabbix.
Yeah. So, like a GitHub and a Chef and Nagios, I have understanding.
Okay.
So, apart from this, so what else tools are required?
So these three you can cover more, like you can read more about these three, and
Mhm.
you can also concentrate on like one of the cloud, either AWS or OpenStack or Docker. So that
Mhm.
would be
Okay.
enough.
Okay. Okay. Can I get a document for the same? If you can share on the group, that will be fine.
Document for, you mean documentation for like these DevOps requirements like that?
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll find out and I will share you that doc as well.
Yeah. Thank you.
Oh, any other questions? So which cloud skill is correlated with Chef? So yeah, like Chef we can run on any instances. Like if you have AWS instance, you can run Chef on AWS instance. If you have Docker, like Chef, it doesn't have any prerequisite, like it is supporting only on these particular cloud, these things. But Chef, it will run on any of the instances. So once the instance is created in any of the cloud, once the instance is up, then we can run Chef on that. So Chef, it can go with like any of the instances. So mainly here in the day-to-day development activities or production activities, we have like VMware, we have AWS, we have Docker, those things as well. So now currently we are running on these platforms. Yes, Shiva, definitely we can set up a lab on this. So as per our course perspective, like we can have the, I will start with like initial infrastructure setup, and then we can go like code development and all those things. Definitely I can set up a lab on this. When will be the next session? Uh, that we will let you know, Srikanth. So we will check with the other colleagues as well, and then we will let you know about the next session. So how much trending is technology when other Puppet, Ansible, Salt, etc. kind of technologies are in market? So currently Chef, it it has been used by so many major companies here. So compare with Puppet, like Chef has more upper level, and Ansible and Chef, it is going in hand. So like people there, if they are going in the server and node architecture, like mostly they are preferring for the Chef. And Ansible also, like in few main companies, like they have that Ansible. So mainly because based on the customer requirement we are going. So Puppet and Salt, that not many people are using that, but Chef and Ansible, like more people are using in the market currently. And Chef, like it had lot of openings here as well. So it is like a for, there are both, like we have Chef open source also and Chef licensed version also. So that depends upon like how many instances you're handling in the production here. So if you have like Chef open source, it supports only for like 25 instances. So they will give support only for like 25 instances with the like free trial version, like open source version. And if you're trying to manage more than like 25 instances, then we have to buy the Chef license. So that license, it will be mainly as per like the package, like as per the, based on the number of nodes what we will be using, that will be the package. So yeah, for our learning purposes, we can still go with the open source version. And if you have less instances in your environment, you can go with the open source version. And if you wanted to manage like more number of instances, then you have to go for a licensed one. And answering to Siva Kumar question, like, yeah, Siva, openings, Chef, it had like a good amount of openings here. So currently, like, people, they are searching for like Chef developers with like other tools experience as well. So yeah, for Chef currently we have good amount of openings. So if I want to tell you like one of the client where we are working, so they were entirely using their entirely managing their environment with Chef only. So we have like almost like in the client, we have like almost like 20 Chef developers working parallelly in the entire global region. So you can assume like how big that client and how they are using that. So definitely like there are very good opportunities in Chef. Is there any difference between open source and premium in features? Uh, yes, Shiva. We are using in my company, like we are using in production environment, and we are managing like 5,000 instances in Chef. And to answering Srikanth's question, is there any difference between open source and premium in features? So like Chef open source, as per I consider like Chef automation, complete Chef automation. We have complete like that is, if you, as I shown you here, I'll go back. So for this Chef Automate, the entire Chef Automate product, it was like a licensed one. So to learn of the Chef Automate, then to learn more about the Chef Automate, we will have like 1 month free trial version we can get. So based on that, like we can work on that and we can explore it. So after that, like we have to buy the entire Chef Automate license. As per like Chef infrastructure automation is concerned, so it had like the open source version and paid like licensed version also. So there we don't have any difference. So it entirely based on like how many instances we are managing with Chef. So if it is less than 25 instances, we don't have to buy the license. We can still go with it. If it is more than 25 instances, so then we have to go for the license. So if it is crossing, if there were free version, if it is crossing more than 25 instances, then we cannot get any support from Chef side. So if you want any support from Chef, then we have to buy their license. So there is no difference between the Chef infrastructure automation for like licensed one and the premium, like free open source and the premium one. Yeah, we can get into by only Chef by taking the open source version. Yeah, Siva, I will try to share the docs with you. So any other questions we have? Raj, so that entirely depend upon the requirement. So outside, so once you start working with Chef, like slowly you will be gathering the information on the other tools as well. Like because like once you write your cookbooks in Chef, you have to run the cookbooks on any one of your cloud instances. Like either it can be AWS or Docker. So slowly, like you will be get familiar with the other tools as well. So yeah, so only with Chef, like we can still based on the requirement, we can go for it. But it is good as a DevOps engineer, like they will expect you to know at least like only if you're strong in Chef, that is fine. At least they will expect you to know few basic things about the other DevOps tools as well. Do we specifically require OS knowledge to work on Chef? Not completely, at least like till the basic level should be fine. So basic OS level, like suppose if you're working in Linux environment and if you're trying to automate something in the Linux, so then like basic commands should be good enough to start off with Chef. So why? Yeah, so why Chef is like it will be easy for us to as per the Chef infrastructure what they are providing. So it will be easy for us to manage our entire infrastructure like in the Chef server and node concept. And looking at the overall picture of the Chef product they are providing, like Chef platform as Chef Automate. So going forward, like many companies, they started moving towards this Chef Automate currently. So by using this like Chef Automate, like by using one single tool, we can manage all our deployment activities starting from build till deploy to manage. So as a bigger perspective, as a entire platform, so Chef, it has like very good added advantage since one tool, it is supporting all the features. And yeah, so as I said earlier, like Chef, it is easy for us to work in this server and node environment. So it will be easy for us to manage this infrastructure and to automate the things easily.
Rakesh, if you
Yeah,
don't have any questions, okay, we can wind up the call.
okay.
If they have any questions, just take another 5 minutes. If they have anything.
Yeah, yeah. So, uh, so like Puppets, are we using any DSL kind of language here? So DSL, like we don't have any specific thing. Only thing we will be using is like Ruby. So initially to start off with Chef, we don't need any programming language because we can straight away use the Chef syntax. So that will do all the automation tasks. But if you wanted to write your own libraries, so at that point, like you will be using this Ruby. So only that Ruby programming language. So even like once you start automating the stuff, then slowly you will be understanding this code as well, like Ruby as well. So it will be Ruby is like programming language like which is very easy for you to learn as well. So it will be very easy to work on it. So mainly we will be following the Chef syntax only. Features like, and is it agent based? Yeah, so it goes on like server and agent mode. So all the nodes, it will be communicating with the Chef server, and then it will be doing all the automation tasks. uh, Thanks, Shiva. Thanks for joining. So I will let you know after discussing with the other colleagues. I will let you know. Okay. Thank you guys. Thanks for joining the session. So I will let you know the next session timings and all. So I will check with the other colleagues as well, and we will share you the contacts.
Yeah, thank you, Rakesh. Thank you so much.
Uh, Thanks, Chandra. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, thanks, Siva and everyone. Thanks for joining. We are closing the call now. So, is still anybody's having any questions, guys?
Do we build the new environment using Chef? Yeah, so at least like from the instance spinning, we once the instance is up and running, like we can use the instance which has been created using any of the cloud infrastructure by using these cloud methodologies. So once the instance is ready, so from there on the Chef we can take into picture, and then we can do all the tasks what which has to be done, like to create the few services, to set up the environment, and to deploy any applications. So all those things we can use it by Chef. So once the instance is up and running, from there we can take over with the Chef. So, but I want a strong reason. Why should I use Chef in my infra? Is there any specific reason? Yeah. So as I said, like Chef, it was like a complete product which offers the like which provides the services starting from the build to manage, like end to end DevOps activities we can manage using this Chef Automate. And if you are more specific to the Chef infrastructure automation, so since our code and what are the handling activities using the Chef node and Chef server mode of architecture, so that will be useful for many of the people, like to easily manage the infrastructure and to easily manage the automation tasks on all the instances. So Chef, like that is a strong point, like based on this architecture, it will be very easy for us to manage. Other tools in the sense, like suppose if you see with Puppet, so the code writing in Puppet will be like more of the complex, like if you have to use more of the DSL languages. But in Chef, it is not like that. Straight away you can use the syntax which has been provided by Chef. So the syntax also, it will be like very straightforward, like it is normal in like simple terms. So as compared with the Puppet, it is very easy to write the code and all. And as it is compared with Ansible, it is very easy to manage our code to be that the code what we will be writing, that will we can easily manage that code to be executed on all the instances. So even if you have like 5,000, or even if you have like 20,000 instances, you can still easily manage those all the automation tasks on those 20,000 instances or 5,000 instances. So that kind of support this Chef server and node architecture that will provide. So seeing in the bigger perspective, like after the Chef, they started providing all the platform, like more, they're including many of the products into their Chef platform. So Chef has like added advantage compared to Ansible and Puppet. Okay, guys. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for joining. We will close the call here and we will meet in the next session. We will let you know the next session details.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks to everyone. Thanks, Rakesh.
Yeah, thanks, Imran.